think so for me, the transitioning in from like life coaching into relationship coach was also like, oh my God, I am growing, but I was relying mainly on referrals, right, with my life coaching. And all my clients were through like, they worked with me, they were high ticketing. And so I never really knew how to like, okay, now I wanted to work with a younger group of clients, still men, but I was like, oh no, like I don't have referrals. I feel like I'm starting from scratch. And it was just like, I don't know how to market myself. I never had to do it. And obviously it's a privilege, but it's also like, it's different to rely on referrals versus to have a system. So I just remembered that, like, okay, now I'm finishing up and I really need help with this. And then you popped up. Like I just felt like it was a clear message, from the universe. Like at least that's how I felt at that time.
Amazing. And I love that. So keep in mind, like again, you had a really successful business relying completely on referrals, right?
Yes.
No marketing was happening. They were coming to you and all was
Yes.
great. But then you felt like, I feel like my heart is calling me to serve a little different type of client.
Yeah.
And then you all of a sudden were there and you were like, okay, I can't rely on referrals anymore. So how am I gonna attract this type of client?
Exactly. Exactly. Yes. That's where I started 100%. And that was
Awesome.
my biggest challenge. But I think in my head, I was just like, yeah, it was so natural to just seek that kind of support.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm curious, like when I popped up, I think you saw one of my ads or
I
something.
saw one of your ads and I just loved it. I was just like, I love your energy. And I watched the webinar and I remember it was so action packed. And I was like, wow, she's giving so much. And then that's where I started to think, okay, maybe I should just look around for another one just to have something to compare. And I did. And I actually jumped on both calls with both you and her and the other one, and it boils down to style, right? Like coaching style, and my preference was just with you, and I felt there was a really great connection. You were just so calming and soothing, and the trust was built straight away, while I felt like maybe the other coach I looked up, it's a little faster pace, and I wasn't ready to go in that kind of like pace. So it was a clear, like, I think, like answer for me whom I should go with. So it was just like, yes, I'm ready to roll. Yeah.
I love that. And was it like about the program or the approach, that we have in Expand? I think you've mentioned like because like you said, you had never marketed yourself
Yes.
before. And so how did you feel about Expand compared to, let's say, the other program or so
Oh
when it
yeah,
came?
the other program, I felt like you had to had a more like ready-made curriculum for a group program, which I was like, okay, what is even this? Well, I felt like Expand was like explaining to me how I could build that with time, but there was a few steps before that. It was just like, this is where I'm at. It was so much more for me like building those blocks, while the other one was like, I feel like you already have to be at a certain level. And I didn't feel comfortable with that because I had no idea about marketing. So how could I be there? So
Yeah,
yeah.
I love that. And also at the same time, like, because you were an absolute expert, at what you do. And
Yes.
so it was a matter of like, how do we take your expertise that you already have and like translate that into a marketing and sales strategy that you feel really good with?
Yeah.
Um, that's
Totally. Totally.
cool. And can you describe to me the moment when you kind of realized that, this is working, when you had joined Expand? Um,
Very shortly after, I would say, because I think the first thing that you taught me, Anna, was my mindset about not being perfect in all regards, right? And the first challenge you gave me was like, you have to post this consistently for an X amount of time in this month, And I was like, I could barely post one post without thinking like, how do I sound? How do I look? What is it, my content good enough? So you really helped me to cement the mindset about not being perfect, because no one wants perfection. We want to see a human being. We want you to be authentic. We want you to be you, right? Like I think that was the exercise that I like mindset wise need to overcome, because that one hack can really help you just be comfortable and learn, because it's better to post, you know, 3 or 5 like average posts than one perfect, because you don't learn by posting perfect like post. And oh my God, I remember I was terrified to post the first 12 posts, but then after that I was like, hey, wait a minute, it wasn't as scary. So I think that was already like the Kickstarter to the whole mindset about how I should approach content and marketing in general. Because yeah, like people appreciate that much more. So I think that was the first time that I was like, okay, this is the new mindset I need to apply. But then definitely also content wise, right? Like once I mastered not to be perfect, then we took it to the next level, which was, okay, how do you show these results, you know, as a coach, and instead of telling it. And that has been my biggest challenge, like I think throughout the whole program. But now I feel so much more confident about how I can create posts and content that actually talks to my audience. Well, I didn't really have a clue before, and even how to like what do I should I post about, you know? So it was just like now I have a system of what to post, what kind of topics that is really calling in my audience. But also feel more confident in like the way I deliver the message, because it took me a while to really learn that skill. So yeah, so I would say once you learn that combined with the method of how to reach out to clients that feels really organic and authentic. Um, and for me, that is the results, because that's the method that I can just repeat and rinse and repeat and rinse without it feeling like salesy. And on top of that, every time I jump on a call with a lead, I feel like I'm bringing so much value to him, you know? So I think like it's such a win-win situation when you feel like, hey, I'm not trying to sell you something that you don't need. You know, I'm just giving you value until you see that this is what you need. So yes, like very early on, I would even say like the first 3 weeks, and then every month there was something that I needed to overcome or learn and like practice, right? So yeah.
But and I remember like because you were, tell me if I'm wrong here, but I think you were quite nervous to even post your first post.
Yes. Yes, because I haven't been active on LinkedIn since I started life coaching. Again, as I said, I haven't done much. I just literally relied on referral. So even just to update that, hey guys, I'm a relationship coach, like, you know, I'm back in business. Like it sounds wrong, right? Because I have always been in business, but I'm now more active with my content. That felt so like exposed, and it was like, well, I'm not used to this. But then now it's like, and here's the thing about posting stuff that is authentic is that people come to you after a while because they start recognizing the value of your content. And I've been approached now 3 times by different, let's say, private companies within relationship or coaching, dating, to work together, like partner up with them. So I'm like, wow, you know, it's like they see me as an authority. Like that's really flips the way you then think about content, right? Because there will be moments where you will think, okay, is my work being seen? Is anyone reading this at all? But it is. You just have to stick with it. That's the thing. Yeah.
Oh my God, I love that. It is so cool, right? Because I know we had the conversation in the beginning when it was like what's the point, you know,
Yeah.
of putting yourself out there if maybe you don't get a lot of likes or comments, like, you know, is this even doing something? And then like what you just said, I think it's so powerful because we don't get instant gratification, right, with marketing, but when you
Yeah.
keep it up and you know that what you're posting is really targeted and valuable to your people,
Yeah.
eventually people start noticing. You become the authority, like you said. And I love how people have come to you and approached you because you have put yourself out there so consistently.
Yeah. And another thing that you reminded of now by saying this, Anna, is that in the beginning, I felt like I was a failure or not being noticed because no one was commenting or like. But it's like, no, that's not my audience. Like the men that I work with, they would not do that. They would not expose themselves, but they would notice me. And sometimes they would reach out to me in private, right? Like you don't know what's going on in the back end. And I think that's something you need to pay attention to while you are doing this work, because publicly it's like it can, people don't know what's going on, right? And you should measure that like as a success criteria. And I did that in the beginning. I'm not gonna lie, you know that, Anna. I was telling you like why I don't feel like I have engagement. And it was like as soon as I let that down and you really helped me with that mindset of like that's not what's important, right? My vanity should put aside. And you know what happened to my Instagram account. So, like, it was such a big lesson. And once I let that go and not looking at like how many views and all of that, it just flows. Like, it just seems like this is not working, you know, like this is natural. So, yes, that was another like really big lesson that I needed to learn.
I love that. And I believe, because I know when we were in this like conversation and you were feeling frustrated, like, well, I'm posting, but I'm not seeing a lot of engagement. Is
Yeah.
it worth it? And then I think around the same time, on a call, you were like, yeah, I have like 200 idle clients in my DMs. And not that everyone responded or anything, but like, I think it's pretty cool, like how you went from, okay, I want to attract this type of person, but I have no clue where is he? How do I do that online?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like, I have 200 potential dream clients in my DMs.
And I think again, like to anyone who's sitting out there, I really like it's in the private that is important, not what happens publicly. Like and we forget that because we look at publicity, right? But it's like it's all about the conversations you're having with your leads that matters. And it's like now that I have this as number one priority, I don't care like that much about what's going on publicly. Of course, I care about my content and I will always reply if people comment or like, but it's not what's most important.
Thank you for saying that. I wish I could spread that all over
No,
social media.
it took me a while, but it's like, oh my God, this, you know, and you will feel so much more peaceful when you're focusing on just having those genuine conversations with your leads. Those like, because it also shows how you care about them, right? Like they really feel, hey, this person cares about me. She's not just trying to sell me something, you know, like she actually cares about my well-being and follows up or whatever it is, right? That those are the conversations that matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, mic drop. I love that
Yes.
because I mean, what you're saying is so valuable because we're bombarded with the message on social media, online, really all marketing messages is like post more content, get more followers, get more likes, get more,
Yeah.
uh, and vanity metrics. And I love how you like are saying that that doesn't really matter at all. What matters is the genuine connection.
Yeah. But it's the ego, right? It's the ego and maybe like, oh, but if everyone comes to my profile and they only see I have, you know, 500 followers or whatever, like it's that thing that you're concerned about, not your clients. And I did that. I totally did that. And now that I'm like, hey, you guys don't know what's going on in my back end, but if you see it, you will see how much value I create, and that's now the most important to me.
I love
So
it.
yes.
And like, and also, I know you said like you posted more in the beginning, but also we need to put in context. Like you've been posting max 3 times a week, I think, on
Yeah,
average.
yeah, yes,
This is not like a lot of the gurus are like you have to post every day several times. No, like 3 posts a week, perhaps.
yes, yes, yes.
Amazing. So I'm curious, Nyah, like what are the wins? If you would like mention what are the results that you've seen?
Oh, many. First of all, I think like yeah, all the clients I signed, right? Like 14 clients within, the year here. And yes, it's for me, it's enough. Like when I say it's enough, it's because all the lessons I learned during how to sign client is as equally valuable. Because if I don't have that system, or the method to do it, I will not be able to sign clients, right? So I would say when you learn something and have to implement it at the same time, it just takes a lot of your energy. So for me, this result, I can be very, very happy with it. And I even have to say that in the middle of our program, like I went all in on relationship and dating while I was still having a little bit of like, let's say a little bit of life coaching. So I felt like I even started a little bit from scratch, right? Like in the middle of the process. So it just shows like if you keep doing this and stick with it will work, but patience, of course. But yeah, so definitely the client signing, but everything that led up to it, like the method, how to reach out, how to talk to your leads, how to nurture them. Content is a big thing here. Like it's just something that blows my mind. Because you constantly know what you need to post about. Like that's the thing, like that's a method in itself, right? You're not gonna be here sitting like, oh my God, like what am I gonna post? And it's so simple once you know what it is you need to focus on to engage with your audience. And in the beginning, you might think, well, am I not repeating myself? But here's the thing, we need repetition. And I think it's again one thing we forget. Like it's not like we're just looking at one person's profile all the time and be like, wow, I heard this so many times. Can she not come up with something new? It doesn't work like that with content. We have 1, 2, 3 minutes maximum of attention span. So we need that repetition. So, and once you also think that this is necessary, right? Like we need repetition, then you would automatically feel that your content is valuable and not repetitive and not like, oh my God, I have to like figure out something new every week. No, 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 you don't. So yeah, I would say a lot of things. Like that is a big win for me at least. So I don't feel like I'm just like rambling again in my content. Yeah.
I love that. Like you're no longer throwing spaghetti at the wall. You know exactly
Yes.
what to post, and it's
Yes.
giving.
And I keep having Anna's like voice in my head sometimes, like show Nyah. Like it kind of helps because I read it through after, right? Like my copy, and then I'm like, okay, what would Anna suggest here? And I think like that's such a interesting effect, right? Because it shows that you learn something, and it's like you now think about certain things more than before when you're actually going through your content.
Yeah,
So
I love that. Okay, so what I'm hearing is like that one of the biggest wins for you is that you feel like you have a strategy, a system to
yeah,
attract clients predictably that is effective and but also that feels really good to you, like in alignment, in integrity.
yes.
Authentic.
Yes, totally in alignment. I think that's again very important because like you will not produce any content if it's not in alignment. You will not reach out to leads if it's not in alignment, right? Like everything has to feel like, hey, when I reach out to somebody that I think might need my help or just even find this valuable, like I come from a place of like care, and curiosity. And when you think that you can send out 20 leads outreach, right? Like you because you're like, I'm trying to help these people, or I'm just trying to see if I can help them because they for some reason has expressed interest in this or that. And it just feels calmer. It feels peaceful, right? It doesn't feel like, oh my God, now I'm like trying to sell someone something. No.
I love that. So basically, you're saying that you've learned how to sell and market without it feeling like you're, because a lot of coaches say that they're like, I just don't want to sell all the time. I don't want to post and just like toot my own horn and sell my program on social media all the time.
Yeah.
So do you feel like, is that what you've been doing, or do you feel like your content has been different?
In the beginning, I felt like that because I wasn't used to it. And I was like, oh, this feels, but now that I have, like, I feel like I've got the content under my skin, I also just tailor-made it to myself. Like, it's a mixture of like, sometimes I will talk about my program or my services, and sometimes I'll just give out as many exercise or tools or value as much as possible. So it's a mix. And no, I don't feel like I'm selling. In fact, I feel like if I'm not telling about this, that I'm not doing any service here to my potential clients, because I know they need it. Like, this is what they express over and over again, right? So again, I'm just like, I need to help these people. They need my help. Yes, this is how I look at it now. Yeah.
I love that so much. I love it so much. And also what you said, like, because some people might be like, wow, well, 14 clients, is that so much? But I love what you said first about the fact that you actually have had two, um, let's say niches. I mean, you really have done the same work, but in the beginning, in the first half of the program, you actually were going for, let's say, life coaching, but for a new
Yeah.
type of client. And so you signed, I think, 6 clients or something there.
Yeah.
But then around halftime, you told me, you were like, hey, Anna, I need to, I want to work more with relationship coaching, dating, and this is what I want to do. So we kind of have to, in a sense, start not from scratch, but like you said, we had to a little bit start from the beginning there.
No,
But
I transitioning from LinkedIn to Instagram, right? Like, it felt like from scratch, to be honest. Like, I remember feeling very frustrated. I was like, oh my God, and I'm starting from scratch. I don't see the same response. But no, it's just, you just have to be patient and do it the same things you learned, and it'll like, now it shows, right? So, and it's, yeah, I've been on Instagram since February. That's
yeah,
not months ago.
that is just 3 months,
Yeah.
And this is important because in those 3 months, I think you've like booked so many calls
Yeah.
with your I really like super aligned people, your dream clients,
Yeah.
and you've signed, I don't know many, like whatever, eight clients in 3 months.
Yeah. So I mean, I instantly felt it when I let go of vanity and just approach them as I would if it was a friend, or if like someone I care about, right? And yeah, and it's been a joy, and I feel, I was like, oh yeah, I guess Instagram is the platform. So I do recognize that there is an importance of platform choice. It's not like just, like it doesn't matter, it matters. So I definitely, and also, you knew I didn't like Instagram, right? I was like, oh my God, and I do have to go on Instagram. And I felt the same with LinkedIn. So it's like, now it's like, it's just a natural thing. I open my Instagram, is your business page, right? It's like, okay, whom had reach out, like, let me reach out. Like, it's just that it's your business. So I wouldn't say I love Instagram, but I'm very grateful for the platform. Let's just say it like that.
Amazing. It's like your office. You might not love your office, but you love helping people through it.
Exactly. It's my office. It's exactly how I look at it. Yeah.
I love that so much. Okay, so basically you've signed 14 and it's high ticket clients, let's put that out there as well.
Yes.
That are super ideal. And your DMs are pretty full and buzzing, I believe, with ideal clients too.
Yes. Yes. It's the thing is like sometimes I have to stop my outreach because I'm afraid that because the response rate is really high. So I'm so surprised because that wasn't the experience on LinkedIn with the type of coaching I wanted to do. So I recognize that LinkedIn is much more favorable for that. So I have to be a little bit careful when I say now outreach to be like, okay, now I know amount of like percentage that will reply back. So I need to think, do I even have time to take all these calls? Which is, of course, a very privileged position to be in. So yeah, I'm not gonna
I'm sorry,
lie.
I'm laughing. I'm not laughing at you. I'm just laughing because it's just like music to my ears. You're like, I have to pause so I don't get too many DMs and too many sales calls.
Yes. No, it's exactly what it is. And it's just like it's surreal, right? It's weird to talk about it like this because it's like that right now. Yeah. So
And this is just after 3 months, people.
3 months and I didn't even realize it because yeah, because you're just again you're so occupied with the conversations. Um and so now I will do something about the group program. Because this is one-on-one, right? So like this is the next natural step to be like, okay, it's time to fill in the group program.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. You basically booked yourself out with one-on-one clients, and now you're at a point where like, you're like, I can't really take much more one-on-one clients. I need to scale.
Yes, I need to think about that as the next step. Yeah.
Yeah. To serve more people. That's
Serve
you've
more
got
people.
more clients than maybe time almost.
Yes, that's it feels amazing, but it at the same time I really like one-on-one. Like I think that's because when something is a little bit more new to you, you do want to get the your own program and everything you teach under your skin, right? And you kind of like want to refine that. So I think one-on-one really allows you to do that before you transitioning into group program and really like, okay, now I have all these data that I can put in.
I love that. If you kind of look back, compare your life business now compared to a year ago, like what's different? Like how is your life different? Both your business and your life, like how do you feel today compared to a year ago?
Mm. So when you just start learning something, you really spend a lot of energy learning and understanding, right? Like now that you learned it and implemented it, you just implement, right? Like implementation takes much less time. So which gives you so much more energy and creativity to think outside of everything else. So there's much more time to like, oh, I might run a campaign or like whatever it is that like it's an additional to your current strategy. So it definitely feels easier, right? It feels like you know your strategy, you know what to do. Like it's not like I'm waking up and like, what should I talk about? Or like, and even my content, I still don't have a content planner because literally this is how because I know what I want to talk about. I just open my phone, I record a reel, and I'll just upload it in the same day. And yes, I'm still a little bit perfectionist, so all of this takes me an hour. But at the same time, I feel like it's a really good quality reel, but it still just takes me an hour, and I have a really good content. So I feel like this comes so naturally, the content part. Outreach part is as well. I have a fixed day that I do it, and once I do it, I don't even need to think about it. I'll just then nurture the response that coming back, and that's already enough. And I book in the sales call. So I yeah, it's really nice to have this system in place. I do miss some accountability. I'm not gonna lie. I think that's one of the most valuable thing as well by working with a coach and a program that you like constantly have someone who is like, where are you at, Nyah? Right? Like it pushes you to the next level. But I know you have to be on your own.
Oh, you mean that you missed that after because you've completed your time and expand.
Yes, exactly. Like I like that was super valuable for me because it kept me going, and now I have to do the work, or I at least have to find some sort of accountability in whatever, networking group if that's what I want. But it's not the same. I would say it's not the same, but at the same time, I also know what to do. So it's like, yeah, definitely a very different feeling and everyday life. Like I feel like now that I have learned all of this, I can do my work in, like 2 hours a day plus the calls, right? So yeah. So it feels pretty good. Yeah, feels pretty
That's
good.
not, it doesn't sound like you hustle.
Not if I don't want to. Like, but my personality is like, okay, what can I create? So there's still something in my head, but that's just my personality. But if I just want to keep it at this level for a while, I could. I think I
Mhm.
could. Like I just onboard one-on-ones, start developing the group program, and then eventually be able to onboard new leads into the group program.
Yeah, I love that. I'm also curious, you said you enjoyed having the accountability. Um, how about like, because Expand is a group program, and I think a lot of coaches are like a little like, do I want to be in a group? Like, can I get the support that I want and need there, or am I kind of gonna be just like a number there?
Mm,
What was your experience like with the group calls, for example?
right. I like to have a little bit of everything. I like to have my VIP one-on-one, but the group calls is this. Most of the time you will feel very valuable because someone shares something and you're like, oh, wait a minute, I haven't thought about that, or it makes you reflect upon your own process, or it makes you feel like, hey, I'm not the only one feeling this way. Like it just eases up, like, because when you sit with your own thought, you're gonna be like, oh my God, why am I not feeling like I'm progressing or like moving forward? And then you hear someone share a certain experience and you're like, oh my God, this is very natural, this is very normal. So it just makes you feel more like motivated, or at least like you're not completely dumb or whatever it is that you're feeling. So it's very empowering. It's very empowering to listen to other members. And and I would say to people who are like, oh, I don't know, I just want my, it's like, I felt that too. I also wanted my own coach and personal time, and you can have that. I'm sure you can, apply for that. But I would say group coaching is a very different dynamic, and you get a lot of value, like, from other participants. And it's also motivating because they also gonna post about their progress. So it's there's just something about that makes you feel like, no, I'm also gonna, like we're in it together. And you also want to help your sisters, right? Like in the group, like you also want to help them grow. It's just as much as they helping you. So if there's anything challenge, or like, you post it, and everyone is always amazing to chime in. So I would say it's hybrid is preferable. Like I would say hybrid is preferable.
You enjoyed the combination with like high level group, high touch,
Yes.
but also you got one-on-one support and
Yes.
calls as well.
Yes. I that would be my ideal combination.
Yeah. Okay. Amazing. And because that's what you get in Expand, you did get one-on-one and
Yes, exactly. That's why I'm saying this was perfect.
awesome. Okay. Well, I'm curious, Naya, like um what what would you say to someone who maybe is considering Expand and maybe like you looking at other programs as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it really depends on where they at because when I chose expand, it was because I had zero clue about marketing, right? And you came to me at the right time where I like now I just finished my certification, now I need help. So I didn't spend, let's say, too much time looking around. I did compare you to another coach, but I am a very like action taker. So when I felt like the information was presented in a way that I could digest it and easy to understand and easy to implement, and the chemistry with you was amazing, that's where I made my decision. So I think when someone is considering this kind of program, they need to also ask themselves, well, like, where am I? Like, what do I already know? And what do I need help with? Like, be really honest. Like, what do I need help with? You might not know everything, but at least have an idea of where you want to head, with this. And like, do you prefer one-on-one? Do you prefer group? Like sometimes you might be surprised because I also thought I just needed, like one-on-one, but then I realized group is so much valuable on top of it. So I would say be open and curious to have a call and talk things through with that coach, right? And be really honest with like, this is what I'm struggling with, and this is what I'm hoping to reach. Is this something you can help me with? I think that's the fastest way for you to figure it out because sometimes it's also hard to understand what it is you get. Like when I say it that way, it's just like there's so much information. You're like, oh, I'm learning this, I'm learning this, I'm learning this, I'm learning this, right? Like it's like, oh, but let me talk to the coach first. That's at least my approach. So I would say if they are considering this kind of program, like jump on a call with Anna. She will answer all your questions and but also be honest with yourself about where you at, like do you have clients or not? Like it's just I think also some people feel quite like, yeah. So I would just say like, yeah, jump on a call with Anna.
I love that. And I love what you said because like you felt like you already said like I don't identify as a marketer.
Mhm.
And I think you still don't identify as a marketer, right?
No.
Even though she has been marketing her work for, a year or so now, and you're attracting so many clients through your own marketing. But I resonate with that. I don't really see myself as a marketer either. And a lot of the people, in our circle, they identify as a coach or uh, like strategist or someone who wants to help people. Not the marketing is just a way to get to help people, right?
Yeah.
But we also do so because we do have like really, really advanced marketers in Expand as well. Uh, and so I think it's important to see that, like you said, it depends where are you at, what are your needs, and then it's all about finding that customized strategy that is
Mhm.
unique to you.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. I think that's what expand is about. Like it really caters to wherever you are, but to you, to your specific situation, and you shouldn't feel overwhelmed by it, right? Because when I remember having the first call with you and you just laid out already, like, I think this is the thing we should focus on for you. I was like, oh my God, yes. Like I felt really understood and like, yes, you are the expert. And I was like, yes, I trust this is the process. So yes, I still don't identify as a marketer, but I know I'm marketing. Like I know I am, I know I'm having sales calls, even though they're not called sales calls. Like I'm selling without feeling that I'm selling. So yeah. This
I
is
love it.
this
You're not a marketer, but you're really badass at marketing. You're doing a great job at it now.
Yes, and this is even talking about it now, I don't even realize like this is what I'm doing, right? Because I'm in the midst of it, but it is what I'm doing. And the result speaks for itself, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah. So if we summarize, basically the journey you've done with Expand has been to go from absolute expert coach, you've always been that, but not being able to attract clients predictably on your own, relying on referrals and so on. And then coming full circle, and now you're still the expert, but you're able to convey your expertise as a coach online through your marketing in a way that feels really good to you. And you have a system, you have a strategy that you can rinse and repeat and get
Yes,
clients.
yes, yes. Yes, 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 yes. Yeah, totally. Like I think that's really, like, if I have to sum up, that's what expand gives. It gives so much more. And also you, Anna, like I think you are such a giver as a coach. Like even in the group calls or in the one-on-one calls, you feel like you always give more than, like it's just you. I always walk away from every call feeling like, oh my God, I like now I need to implement, or so I would also add that as something to consider if you want to consider expand, because you're getting more than you
Thank
expect.
you. Well, likewise. It's been such a pleasure and such an honor, Naya, to be able to work with you and just see you, you know, be able to reach more people with your amazing transformation work. It's been incredible to follow your journey, and I can't wait to see you, you know, go further as well, because we're gonna stay in touch, obviously.
Thank
But
you so
yeah,
much. Thank you for all of your help and the group, and yeah, all the just valuable lessons. Like I would definitely not have been here if it wasn't for you and the program 100%. Like I can like I yes, I know I did the work, but without the help and the knowledge and the accountability, I would not have been able to do this on my own.
I'm so glad. And it's true what you say, very important. Like you showed up, you did the work every step of the way, and that's why you know, you're reaping the rewards right now so beautifully. It just makes me so happy.
So it works, but you have to do the work. Like that's the number one lesson, and be patient to see it unfolds.